Mr. Hussain, Patron of SPGG, Mr. Sawaiwa, CEO and Principal of our very own alma mater, Singapore Polytechnic, Mr. Lim Ching Ek and Mr. Low Wong Fok, our honorary member, and fellow EXCO colleagues, member of SPGG, distinguished guests and friends. A very good morning to all of you, and thank you very much for spending your precious Saturday morning to walk down the memory lane with us and witness the launch of the SPGG history book, Tested Through Time. A few months ago, some of our SPGG members asked me, "Hey, why do you want to publish this book? No other people publish book like this one, And I said, this book, 6 years in the making, really deserves to be published. And here's why. SPGG, some of you know, is already 46 years old. And the conception of SPGG started in 1969 with the late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, then the founding father of Prime Minister, pointedly asked the Polytechnic student union leader when he visited the, I think it was the Prince Edward campus. He said, why don't you have the guild of graduates? And the rest, as they say, is history. Now, SPGG was one of the first alumni organizations among higher learning institutions in Singapore to have successfully raised funds, designed, built, and managed our own clubhouse, all on our own, all by the Poly boys. By the way, we have very few Poly girls. Now, the construction of this building, even the feng shui for positioning and orientation of the guild house and certain angles was also advised by our very own engineering graduate who turned feng shui master. Now, this book is a record of all this process, and it has not been a bed of roses. Now, in keeping with the guilds alive and kicking in those 4.5 decades, successive executive committee members have had to deal with numerous unexpected challenges, including the economic downturn and impossible situations like the SARS outbreak, the 9/11 and the Bali bombing. And at one point, the guild was near insolvency. The past president and EXCO members of SPGG, who were volunteer with limited time on any given day, were struggling to keep their job while working hard to keep the guild afloat in those trying times. But the SP spirit of a never say die prevailed. Not only we have survived, we thrive and become stronger after every difficult period. We've learned a lot, become much wiser and more resilient. Many lessons are in this book, which we hope will become a useful tips for the future executive committee. So you must read the book. To all the pioneer and the past EXCO colleagues, you have served the guild, our members, and our alma mater selflessly with distinction over the decades. This book is also a tribute to your contribution and dedication. On behalf of SPGG, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. In fact, the journey of SPGG wasn't very lonely. Lots of help and support were along the way throughout the 4.5 decades. We would not be where we are today if not for the unwavering support and unconditional support of our past and present chairman of the SP Board of Governors, past and present principal, and the leadership team of our alma mater. I must say that we are very fortunate. Some of you are here with us today, and I would like you all to join me in thanking our alma mater's Board of Governors and the principals. I mentioned earlier that this book was 6 years in the making. By the way, we are still debating. Pearly and I are still debating whether it's 6 years or 5 years. But this book was 6 years in the making. But more accurately, this is the 6-year labor of love of our very own Pearly Gan. And Pearly spent the last 6 years, my version 6 years, her version 5 years. Spent the last 6 years researching tens of thousands of scattered documents, all over the place relating to the SPGG. From the very first issue of a Fission magazine, and that was published some 25 years ago. And Exco meeting minutes since the inception in 1971, and Poly archive of correspondence between SP and SPGG, and many, many more. Poly also conducted tens of face-to-face interviews with many of our Excos, past and present, Poly principals, also past and present, and staff, and also member of board of the governors, to verify the record. And of course, she also tried to sift out the juicy story. Now, SPGG owes this history book to Pearly's 6 years of youth and love. Thank you, Pearly. By the way, Pearly is also SPGG member. Associate also member. Now, I would also like to thank Suan Zhi for spending the last couple of years proofreading and editing Pearly's work. Thank you, Suan Zhi. Also must do a bit more commercial. Both Pearly and Suan Zhi was the former staff of SP. So far, you all might have a glimpse of this book, okay? And the design and layout of this history book was also done by none other than our very own SP School of Design, Mr. Leslie Neo. Leslie, thank you. As you can see, this book is truly an SP product, all made by SP. And maybe we should call it the Made in SP. Now, I'm very grateful also to one gentleman, Mr. Chua Hong Kun, who is the director of a major publisher. He actually volunteered to be our advisor after seeing that we were struggling in the production of the book. And it was through Hong Kun's professional advice and guidance that we were able to bring this book to launch this year. If not, it could be another few more years. Unfortunately, Hong Kong is not here with us today. He's overseas. Now, I also like to, most importantly, I also like to recognize and thank our SPGG management and staff, specifically Mr. Lung and Alison, for their tireless hard work and the dedication in supporting the whole project. Now, let's fast forward to today. Time does not stand still. The demographics change and the challenges loom. We may lose our relevance, as an alumni club, we may lose our relevance to the new generation of members, SP students and graduates who were brought up in the ever-changing, ever-evolving interconnected world of today. Now, brick and mortar clubhouse like this may no longer be as important to this new generation as they have been with us, our generation. For the new affiliation and friendship can be found easily and formed by clicking on the keyboard on the computer or a touch on their mobile phone. This generation, instant gratification is valued more than virtues of patience. The current EXCO has drawn on the lesson in this book and charted a strategic course to keep SPGG relevant and to the SP community and to take it to be the club of distinction. So I encourage you all to read the book. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all again for taking the Saturday morning and spend it with us here. Thank you.
I say congratulations because it is easy to form an association. All you need is somebody say there shall be one and there will be one. Which was what happened in SPGG. Actually, that fellow said, how come there is none? They said, oh yeah, there will be one. But to sustain it through thick and thin is not easy. Today, we are here to witness the SPGG being sustained through all these difficult years and grow from strength to strength. And the second difficult thing to do is to publish a book. Publish a book is easy, but to put all those things inside the book, that is tough. To dig up all those things from God knows where is tougher. Okay? To chase people for articles, make appointments for interview, likewise is not easy. And I say this through personal experience. When I was in school, I did edit school magazine. Luckily, only once. I say, wait, better, right? Never again. But today, we also witness the completion of this book, which I have flipped through just now. Because I told Jimmy, for goodness sake, ask me to launch a book. Show me what am I to launch. Right? But then what I saw was very commendable, and our principal, Mr. Sowaiwa, I'm sure has read the book much more than I, said at least 5 times. It's a commendable effort. Commendable effort. Commendable effort. That is why I say congratulations first before good morning. Indeed, the success of SPGG, as viewed through the book, we see is because of the many support that they receive from all quarters. They receive support from the alma mater. Okay, I thought it was because old men say there shall be one, and therefore the alma mater has got to support it. And not true. Alright? Okay? But then when I saw that what he said was translated into the first pro tem committee convening advice, beautifully written, okay, in purple ink, handwritten by the way. Oh, I say, look, today we don't see such handwriting anymore. Everything keyboard. So when Jimmy says that a brick and mortar clubhouse in today's world, is it still relevant? But then when we see that beautiful handwriting in purple ink, it's the only thing that I remember first from that book. You know, remember back to basics. You may make a lot of friends on the net. You may see a lot of places. Ask yourself, are they real or not? Now even truth, there's this thing called fake truth. Okay? Fake news. Even truth can be fake. In a society like this, when you come here to meet real people, to touch a brick and mortar, to go through the book that is properly verified and witnessed by the principal as well as the president, somehow it's different from just serving a net, right? So therefore, I would say that SPGG has been successful for the last nearly 50 years, right? You want to be successful for the next 50 years, okay? The basics are still relevant. There must be true support, spiritual support from all quarters, but most importantly, the members must have the wisdom to elect good management committee that can bring the society through thick and thin. I was associated with the SPGG for only around 10 years. sorry, no more than that. Nearly 20 years. Nearly 20 years. So I did witness part of the history. I did sense some of the pains that the committee has. They have, I think during that period, worked with about 3 principals. All of them tell them, never say die. Maybe they say, if you want to die, don't die in my hands. Hard to explain, right? So because of this, the association, since the principal said you don't die in my hand, so SPGG continue to live. Right? Even though it is sometimes very difficult, but most importantly, even the SPGG presidents also feel if it has got to die, please don't die in my hands. Right? Otherwise, you'll be on history as leading the committee to death. Chinese say 变成历史罪人了。So, Polytechnic teach us never say die. And as a result, despite the difficulties, didn't die. Now I understand because we are doing very well, the government feels that, oh, now this society can live. So some of those earlier support, Auditor General come and ask why. So sorry, slowly. Okay? You will have to adjust to the real market reality. But fear not. All your principles are very, very at home with that type of environment. Gain their support, listen to their advice, somehow a way will be found. Of course, our members includes the graduates. They also include future graduates. Now remember, this SPGG was founded out of the tail end of the students' union, right? It's because when Mr. Lee came, he was asking the student union, right? Why don't you carry on? So because of this, must carry on. After NS, must a reservist. That is what it means. Okay? But Singapore Poly graduates will have brighter and brighter prospects. Okay? We were just sharing just now that nowadays, if you are university graduates, you may get retrenched at a moment's notice because of organizational changes. But if you are poly graduate or IT graduate, you are much safer because you have skills, right? Yeah. Skills cannot be replaced. Thought sometimes can be replaced. CEO say, I don't want to listen to so many, let's retrench a few directors. Companies still go. Maybe grow even better. But they cannot retrench the people who has got skills. So Polytechnic students will have bright prospect. We have got government as well as the board who are very close to the employment market, which can give the school leadership and management good advice. Also, Polytechnic graduates are the best source of entrepreneurs. Because you look at the technopreneurs, people like Steve Jobs and the like, they actually didn't complete university. Okay? They went to good university after 1 or 2 years, and no time for that. I will come out. Okay? And that is why when they are invited to the university, given honorary professorship, but asked only to address the graduates. they don't want them to address the undergraduates. You address undergraduate, all go and start businesses. But if they start businesses that way, the risk is higher because they did not understand technology. Right? Polytechnic students, graduates, you understand technology much better. Okay? And you actually can find very safe jobs. If despite that they say, I want to be an entrepreneur, then you got to be serious. And you have given more thought as to how to do it. Okay? I believe that polytechnics, including yours, or especially yours, will be the future source of our entrepreneurs. So therefore, if you are able to unite the graduates under SPGG, you ought to get stronger support, not only in terms of this, but also in terms of image. And because of this, the school must support you, government, they must also try to support you. As a result, you won't die. Then of course, you are reaching out also to the students. Right? Give them opportunity to understand there is a guild. And then if the guild can give students hope and vision and relevance. I come here, I see the elders, oh, they are all damn impressive. Next time I want to be better than them. If that's the case, you're giving our nation, you're giving your alma mater a big favor. And when they become graduates themselves, they will remember what you have done for them in opening their eyes. So because of this, there will be continuous group of new members coming in, both boys and girls. Okay? And since everybody start coming in, again, you will never die. Right? Most society die not because they run out of money, but because they run out of active members. So, I congratulate all of you again for this book that documented in some way the spirit of Singapore Polytechnic graduates. Mr. So just now was saying that this commendable effort would be very relevant to the National Heritage Board because again it is a kind of a recording of a generation of young people, okay, during the development phase of Singapore. Maybe all these will become part of our heritage and you will be an example that illustrates this very important heritage. So congratulations again. I see Jimmy was sending out gestures. I got the message. All the best. Thank you very much.